Looking for these better days.
It is Monday, May 25th, Memorial Day. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. An absolute no-show by the Thunder last night as the Spurs even up the Western Conference Finals at 2 games apiece. A thrilling comeback from the Vegas Golden Knights as they take a commanding 3-0 series lead over the Colorado Avalanche, and the Knicks look to close out the Cavaliers tonight in the NBA's Eastern Conference. Jake Hassan joins me on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Jake, before we get started, let me just acknowledge that it is Memorial Day today, and I just want to get this out of the way. We're going to talk a lot of sports betting, of course. Major League Baseball is a full slate of day games today for Memorial Day. It is the official/unofficial kickoff of summer, but let's also take some time to acknowledge why we actually have Memorial Day, and it is to honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice and have paid the price defending our way of life here. So please take some time today to just acknowledge what Memorial Day is, not just a day for barbecues and daytime baseball. That being said, let's talk some baseball and barbecues and all that stuff, Jake, because we are feasting. We start with what happened last night. Spurs dominate the Thunder 103-82, evening up the series at 2 games apiece in one of the weirdest games that I think I've ever watched the Oklahoma City Thunder play. I looked this up. It's just the second time since 2021 that the Thunder scored under 90 points in a game.
Wow. That is genuinely shocking. I mean, you're right. It's a weird game. I mean, listen, Scott, the thing is, whenever Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be your second leading scorer, things probably aren't going your way. Things probably aren't. And we know what the Thunder are. They death by a million paper cuts. You know SGA is going to get his. But when Hartenstein's your second leading scorer with 12 points, yeah, it's probably going to be a rough night for you. I don't think we expected the Spurs to lose both at home. I think we kind of all expected this to be a tied series at this point going into game 5, or maybe even the Spurs to be up at this point. This is the dog fight that we thought it was going to be at this point, the rock fight that we thought it was going to be at this point. And if you ask me what's going to happen going the rest of the way, honest to God answers, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen the rest of the way here.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people thought this was at least a 6-game series, maybe a 7-game series. And so the idea that the Spurs were going to lose last night, it's not that I thought they were going to win. You know, I knew they were going to, well, I knew they were going to win. If I did, I'd bet all my money on it. I did bet them money line in the first quarter, and our system came through. They dominated the first quarter. So now teams coming off of a loss in the series, and then our favorite in the next game. Yes, the Cavs were a no-show for us 2 days ago, but with the win last night by the Spurs in the first quarter, now 19-7-1 in the first quarter money line here in these playoffs. So that is when you lose in the series and then you're favored in the next game, which, by the way, it unlocked the system for tomorrow's game for the Oklahoma City Thunder as the favorite coming off the loss here. We'll talk about that in a moment. But I didn't think that the Thunder would get blown out the way that they did. And when you look inside the box score, you mentioned a couple of stats. There were some things that just jumped out to me. Okay, they only scored 19 points in the first quarter. They can't shoot the ball. In the first half, they were 1 of 11 from three-point range. They finished the game 6 of 33 from three-point range. And for just the second time or third time this season in 60 games, Alex Caruso didn't attempt a three-pointer. He played 14 minutes and only took 1 shot. How does Alex Caruso play 14 minutes and only attempt 1 shot? This was one of the weirdest games I've ever seen the Oklahoma City Thunder play. I had no idea what I was watching. And it looked like maybe after the first quarter, they just said, all right, we're punting. That's it. Like, we'll go back home tied 2-2, and that's it. We have 3 games left, and 2 of them are at home. So who cares what happens tonight? We're punting on tonight's game.
And back to the Caruso point of this, I mean, how many times in the past that, Scott, I'm a Bulls fan, so I watched Alex Caruso for a long time as well. Like, how many times has Alex Caruso had 0 points and 4 fouls, too? Like, almost fouled out of the game as well. I don't think you're wrong about after the first quarter, maybe they just kind of punted because, I mean, they got outscored in every single quarter of the game, and it almost felt like that was their goal, was to just take one in San Antonio. They accomplished their goal in game 3. All right, get out alive. Now you get out. And it feels like now they're just happy to have this series tied 2-2, essentially 0-0. Now you have a best of 3 on your hands. Whereas, and that's where maybe I feel like Oklahoma City might fall into a pitfall here because
Mm.
San Antonio, like, they want it. They're hungry. I mean, me and you talked last week, like, Victor Wembanyama, especially, crazy person, wants it, wants the blood. He's about that life. And
Yep.
so it feels like Oklahoma City maybe is just happy to get out of there with one, whereas San Antonio, I feel like they're going out of this saying, we're ticked off. We're not happy
Hmm.
that we dropped one at home. And we're not, even though we put you in the dirt in game 4, we have a point to make. And so to me, in game 5, that's going to make me lean Spurs. I'm not going to say that Oklahoma City's resting on their laurels, but it did kind of feel like that in game 4.
Line for game number 5 back in OKC tomorrow night. Thunder 5.5-point favorites, total of 215.5. Odds for the series: Thunder minus 220 to win the series, Spurs plus 180. I mean, I'd take a shot at the plus 180 if we're being honest, but I mean, maybe it's just betting the Spurs on a game by game basis because I feel like they've played better in the collective of the 4 games. They've played better, and last night was so disheartening for me watching the Thunder. But you know something? Because it's the NBA playoffs, if they win tomorrow night and they take a 3-2 series lead, no one's going to remember this game last night. No one's going to remember it. But I do think this is a 7-game series, and the only bet that I can say I'm comfortable doing right now is the Thunder on the first quarter because that's the play for game number 5. You might have to lay the points though because the money line might be a little bit too expensive. Actually, no, it's not. Thunder right now up on FanDuel minus 144 to win the first quarter. That is the official play for game number 5 back in the system. Thunder as home favorites after the loss.
I don't think that that's a bad play. I think you're right. Like, it's going to come back to OKC fired up at least to start, and they're probably going to come out swinging. I'm with you. I think it's probably, I would bet the Spurs game to game basis, but also I love a dog. That's just how I am. That's how I'm wired. But I think you're right. The first quarter play. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right.
Yep, and that's what we're going to do here for this game number 5 coming up tomorrow. We have a game number 4 tonight in Cleveland where the Knicks will look to close out the Cavaliers. Right now up on FanDuel, Knicks 2.5-point favorites, total of 217.5. No system in this one because even though the Cavs lost the game, they are not favored in tonight's game, so there is no first quarter system. But I'll be honest, I've said this multiple times already on a variety of shows. I've already bet Knicks money line. I did that as soon as the game opened up. But I am going to play a multitude of alternate spreads for this game tonight because I have a feeling that this game 4 between the Knicks and the Cavs is going to play out exactly how game 4 played out between the Knicks and the 76ers when the Knicks jumped out to that massive 43-24 lead at the end of the first quarter, put up 144 points and won the game by 30. I think the Knicks blow out the Cavaliers tonight.
I don't know how you think that that's not a possibility, Scott, because every single time in each game, it feels like the Cavs are right there and they're going to make a push and they're going to take the lead and maybe they're going to win the game. And then they fade. And then the Knicks just take control back of the game. And now here we are. They've won every single game by double digits. I don't know how you don't take alts here. It feels like New York inside of one possession is disrespectful, especially, and I know me and you have said this before, James Harden in an elimination game? Okay, sure. I'll take the other side of that. No problem.
Yeah. Play some alternates. I looked at, maybe playing minus 9.5 or minus 14.5, like minus 19.5. Like, I just think this game gets ugly tonight because the Cavs to me, and with all due respect to the players, and I'm not going to say the word quit because that's disrespectful to these athletes, but the way that you saw them play, and I guess the idea is like, oh, well, their season's on the line and they're going to play hard. Their season was on the line in game 3. You can't go down 3-0. And for them to allow 37 points in the first quarter and turn the ball over and play as badly as they did in game 3, and the kicker to all this, oh my goodness, Kenny Atkinson, the head coach, yesterday in his press conference says, analytically, we've won 2 of the first 3 games. Okay. Does the analytics score have you advanced to the NBA Finals? No, you're down 3-0, Kenny. And a lot of the decisions that you have made have not worked in this series. So Knicks right now up on FanDuel looking at some of the alts. Let's see. Knicks minus 9.5 is plus 200. You should get more for that. That feels whatever. Knicks minus 14.5 plus 370. minus 19.5 plus 670, minus 24.5, 10-1.
Oh, that's it. I mean, you're
Yeah.
also to your point about Atkinson too, Scott. Is we got Donovan Mitchell up there saying, "Oh, I know what it's like in New York. I grew up a Knicks fan." You got people on Twitter saying, "Man, you're playing like a Knicks fan at this point." Like, and you can't say that they're wrong. I don't see how this goes any way other than the Knicks, which probably means the Cavs just went outright and we all look like idiots. But I mean, through 3 games, like I said, every single time that the Cavs have made this look like it's going to be close and they're going to
Mhm.
take a lead in the game, they just fade and the Knicks do something in some way or another, whether it be a stop or a dagger bucket, and they just run away.
And by the way, Donovan Mitchell, like you could have signed the Cavs, right? I mean, I know it was a trade, but it was like one of those like trade then sign deals or
Mm.
whatever. But like everyone talked about you going to the Knicks because you're from New York, right? Because like what was it? Like your dad worked for the Mets or something or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like, like everyone thought you were going to the Knicks and you're like, no, I'm okay. Because you couldn't handle the heat, bro. Couldn't handle the Garden. Jalen Brunson said, I'll handle it though. And Jalen Brunson leading this Knicks team to the NBA Finals. The Knicks, by the way, have all the motivation in the world to blow out the Cavs tonight. Like you want to get as much rest as possible
Mm-hmm.
and let the Thunder and Spurs go to 7 games because let
Oh
them
yeah.
battle it out and you just advance and wait your turn, just like you did waiting for the Cavaliers here in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I don't think there's any let up from the New York Knicks tonight. Well, speaking of let up, there was no let up from the Vegas Golden Knights last night, Jake. Despite going down 3-0 in the first period with some controversy. They go down 2-0. There was a goal that was scored on the power play by our guy Pavel Skorofiev that was disallowed on the ice. And then when Toronto reviewed it, the replay center said, okay, no goal. We'll never get a good explanation. They said maybe on the ice. They thought that Dorofiev batted it in with his glove. You couldn't prove that he did. I don't know. Anyway, the power play continued for Vegas, and then Colorado scored moments later, shorthanded to make it 3-0. So at the end of the first period, it's 3-0 Colorado instead of it being a 2-1 game, Colorado leading. Vegas came out in the second period and they said, we're not going to leave it up to the officials. We're going to take matters into our own hands. Mark Stone, welcome back. Captain Stone scores on the power play. And then all of a sudden, the floodgates opened. William Karlsson scored. Keegan Colasar later in the period tied the game. And in the third period, Tomas Hertl with the go-ahead goal. Brett Howden with the empty netter. Vegas comes back from 3-0 down to win 5-3 and take a 3-0 lead over the Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals. We know it's happened before. I'm going to ask you, Jake, does Colorado make this a series or is it over?
I think it's over. And usually, especially in hockey, I wouldn't say that. But it's the way that the Avs have lost these last 2 games. And Avs teams have passed. They would get a lead. And we saw the statistic in game 2 where the Avs, after leading after 2 periods, they were undefeated and they just stranglehold you and they just win. And in this game, even in game 3, I thought they learned their lesson. 3 goals in the first period. Okay, we're just going to run away with it. They're not going to make the same mistake that they made in game 2. And then they made the same mistake that they made in game 2, and they allowed Vegas 5 unanswered goals. I think that the Avs are a dead team walking. This clearly is not the same team that we've come to know and respect. And now Vegas, of course, they have all the momentum. And I know momentum, you can't, really quantify that and put it towards a point spread or a money line, but how much is momentum worth? But Vegas knows what they got. They're cooking right now, and they can see the Avs, and the Avs are limping here, especially. And after the way that the Avs have lost these last 2 games, maybe they salvage one more win, one win, as it were, not even one more, but maybe they salvage one win here and salvage a gentleman's sweep. But I mean, there's no number you could put up there that I would want to take the Avs in game 4.
Right now up on FanDuel, Colorado minus 122 for tomorrow night, but the Fortress is going to be electric. And I think Vegas goes out there and wins. It was a much higher scoring game as we expected in game number 3. Total for game number 4, 5.5, juiced at minus 140 to the over. I think we could see a similar type of high scoring affair in game number 4. Tonight, it is game number 3 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Montreal Canadiens. The series is tied at a game apiece, after the incredible victory by Carolina in overtime in game number 2. And so now this is the first game in Montreal. The crowd we know is going to be just unreal for the Canadiens, with the chance to go back to the Stanley Cup final for the first time in a while. And, in real, like not COVID. But anyway, we have the line here up on FanDuel. Carolina minus 137, total of 5.5, juice to the over. We've had the first game was the over game, 6-2, where Montreal dominated. Carolina was much better in game number 2. Montreal scored late to make it a 2-2 game to force overtime and lose 3-2. I would love to play Montreal plus a goal and a half. It's minus 220 up on FanDuel. Maybe you can shop around, get a better line. I would love to play Montreal plus a goal and a half. I think they keep this one tight or win this outright.
I'm going to be on the Hurricanes in the first period, to be honest with you. I think you're going to get a syndrome here of the Canadiens know what's on the line. They know how big this is. Like you said, that stadium's going to be electric, and I think you might see them tighten up a little bit, and you might see them play a little stiff. And so I'm going to take the Hurricanes to score in the first period here, because I just – and this is Jakey narrative. I'm not even going to try and pretend that it's not, but I think that this is going to be – because this feels like, Scott, too, the way that the Avs and the Golden Knights are playing, to bring it back to them, if it's not Carolina's year this year, it doesn't feel like it's ever going to be their year. And so I think they know for them, they got to come out swinging. And I'm going to take the Hurricanes to score in the first period here and maybe silence that crowd in Montreal right away.
First period overs have been a cash cow here for the Montreal Canadiens. I think it's now 9 straight games that they've got over in the first period. Maybe if you like, if you like the Hurricanes to score in the first period, maybe it's just an over 1.5 in the first period.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to go here for this game here tonight. Taking a quick look, though, at the Conn Smythe Award market here. Mitch Marner is your favorite at plus 200. Frederik Andersen of Carolina is your second favorite at plus 550. I know he gave up 3 goals last night, but Carter Hart at 40-1 up on FanDuel right now, I think is worth a flyer, because if Vegas finishes off Colorado and he has a solid Stanley Cup final, I understand that there's more stuff with Carter Hart, with his story, with everything that happened in the past, that some voters might maybe that's the case with voters for like regular season awards, where it's like 100 and something voters, but there's only like 18 voters for the Conn Smythe Award, that are going to be watching every game here in the playoffs. Carter Hart, you can say Mitch Marner's been incredible here in this postseason, but he's only got a couple more points than Jack Eichel. Carter Hart's been the reason why Vegas has made this run in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, he has solidified the net where Vegas did not have that solidity all season long. 40-1. 40-1's a good flyer.
And you're speaking my language with the 40-1. Like, I love a long shot. I love going down the board. And what do we know about Vegas? The goalie is the reason that they haven't been able to get over the hump in the last couple of years as it is. So that would fit the narrative of the missing piece, finally pulled it all together. He's what they needed. And he finally got them to that next ring. I think that makes a lot of sense. And especially at the price, I'm with you. I think as a flyer, that's something I'm interested in.
Let's talk baseball, Jake. We have a couple of day games, a nice schedule of day games here on Memorial Day. The action gets started with the Cubs and the Pirates from Pittsburgh. Chicago's a small road favorite up on FanDuel with Ben Brown on the mound. They're minus 112. Carmen Mlodzinski goes for the Pirates. I know you've ranted about the Cubs before, but is this do your ears perk up or do your eyes pop open? Like, is this like red flag number 1? When you see the Cubs listed as a favorite on the road, do you want to fade them here?
I mean, not only did my eyes pop open, Scott, my eyes popped out of my head like a Looney Tune. And when I saw this line with the Pirates as home dogs, the Cubs have just gotten swept in back-to-back series by the Brewers and the Astros, who are horrendous. And now you go on the road to the Pirates, who have been exceeding expectations all year long. They're in this division race as well. They know what's on the line. And you're lining Ben Brown as a favorite. I disagree with this completely. I'm on the Pirates. I'll take them as the home dog, even though it's a minus money dog. I'll take the Pirates here. Like I said, I can't believe this, and the eyes out of my head like a Looney Tune.
Rays are at the Orioles. Tampa Bay up on FanDuel right now, minus 130 favorite. Shane McClanahan on the bump for them. Kyle Bradish goes for the Orioles. I like McClanahan. I love the Rays, first
Mhm.
off, like what they've been doing this season. But I kind of want to fade Baltimore after the doubleheader yesterday. So not only did they play a doubleheader yesterday, but now to turn around and come back to the ballpark for a day game where you're not really used to it here on a Monday holiday afternoon, I just kind of want to fade Baltimore after the double dip. What do you think about backing Tampa here?
I'm with you about fading Baltimore off the double dip. I mean, Shane McClanahan looks like the Shane McClanahan of old, of
Mhm.
2021, of 2022, of 2020, 2019. Like, this is a guy who was an ace we all thought was going to win a Cy Young someday. And the first couple starts to start the year of 26 weren't great, and he was clearly shaking off some rust, but he's looked great in his last handful of starts. I think this is going to be an Orioles team total under, a first five under. I would even look at the McClanahan strikeouts once we see what that is. But I like him. I'm with you. I think the Orioles are going to see some tired legs here, some tired bats. And the way that McClanahan's been pitching, there's no reason to fade him here.
Your other day games scheduled for today, Memorial Day. You got the Twins at the White Sox, Zebby Matthews for the Twins, and it's going to be Anthony Kay on the mound for the White Sox. Looks like Minnesota is a slight road favorite here, minus 112 up on FanDuel. Cardinals are at the Brewers, Matthew Liberatore for the Cardinals, Jacob Mizorowski for the Brewers, Milwaukee minus 220. Jake, they're plus 104 on the minus 1.5 run line. I know we don't like doing run lines with home teams. Total in this game is 7.5, which is a low total, but it's the Miz going up against the Cardinals here. What do you think about this one?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm inclined to take the Cardinals in this one just because the way that they've been able to win games. Mizorowski's been awesome. He's going to be a Cy Young finalist. Don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the best pitchers in the league. He's out here on Mookie Betts' podcast saying, I think I could hit 105 if I really wanted to. Yeah, man, we know you're unreal. But to give the Cardinals at almost 2-1 as a team that's been underrated all year long and has just found ways to win games time after time after time, even with quote unquote Matthew Liberatore on the mound, this is just that Cardinals devil magic from 10 years ago that we've come to know. If you're going to give me this big of a price on the Cardinals, I'm inclined to take them. And, it makes me scared and I'm sweating fading Mizorowski. But at this price, I can't pass on the Cardinals here.
Yankees are at the Royals. Will Warren for the Yankees. Michael Wacha goes for KC. Yankees get the walk-off win yesterday. Judge snaps out of his funk. The Yankees offense, though, has just been in a slump for the past week or so. They haven't scored any runs. We have the Yankees minus 148 up on FanDuel. Total of 9. Is Michael Wacha and the Royals the recipe for the Yankees to break out of this offensive slump?
I mean, you would hope. I think that more of the question is this Royals pitiful offense the formula for Will Warren to continue his breakout? That's the only way I would look at this. Like you said, I'm not the type of person that's going to try and be the first to get the first bet there that the Yankees break out and say, I was the first one there. Cool. I'm not trying to take those victory laps. I'll believe it when I see it offensively for the Yankees. I'm more inclined to back Warren. He's been solid all year. And this Royals offense, even with Bobby Witt Jr. being one of the top wins above replacement in baseball, guy's not hitting home runs. He's not hitting extra base hits. I think this is a Yankee spot for sure. If they were ever going to break out, it would be against Wacha, but I would take Royals unders here and just continue to back Will Warren in his breakout season.
Yeah, or maybe the full game under 9 is the way to go. The Yankees been slumping as well. Nolan McLean's on the mound for the Mets. Nick Lodolo goes for the Reds. The Mets are minus 166 up on FanDuel, which is such a heavy price. But Nolan McLean's been so good at home this year. Maybe I'm thinking about it. Maybe a Nolan McLean strikeout prop. I know it's going to be high because what is it, 7.5? But if you look at his starts at home versus on the road, at Citi Field this year, he had strikeout numbers of 7, 10, 8, 8. So he's going 7 or 8, at least 7 strikeouts in all of his home starts.
Yeah, this would only be a McLean strikeouts, if anything, for me. And especially against the Reds lineup with rookie Sal Stewart, who's figuring it out, free swinging Ellie De La Cruz. We know what he is at this point. He's a star, but guy likes to swing. Guy can generate a pretty good breeze when he whiffs on a pitch. So, this Reds lineup, they like to swing. They whiff on a lot. And McLean, the way that he's been pitching, like you said, at home, a couple double-digit starts under his belt, it would only be McLean strikeouts for me in this one.
All right, that's a quick preview of a couple of day games here in Major League Baseball. There's one other day game. It's a 5 o'clock Eastern time start, though. Diamondbacks at the Giants. The rest of the slate is all night games here tonight, which seems like a crime on Memorial Day. Feels like everybody should be playing during the day and nobody should have the day off, but that's all right. We'll save that argument for another day. It's also a big day, Jake, in college baseball. The bracket is going to be unveiled later on this afternoon. Give the audience, I know we're going to do a little write-up and we'll email it out to Better Day subscribers, a little bit of a preview of the college baseball World Series once the bracket gets unveiled later today. But what's something that you are looking forward to when you watch the selection show this afternoon?
Yeah, Scott, I tweeted this at DJ Kassan on Twitter. I'm frothing at the mouth waiting to see who Georgia Tech gets in their region because they're going to be the number 2 overall seed. They've been a powerhouse all year long, but we've seen they've struggled against elite teams like a UNC. We haven't seen them play some of these SEC teams like a Texas or like a Georgia. We haven't seen them play UCLA, who's the number 1 overall seed and broke the record for most consecutive weeks as number 1 in the country. So Georgia Tech is a team that I think is a paper tiger. I think they remind me of those Zach Edey Purdue teams where, oh, look at how many points they score. And, oh, look at how they dominate weaker competition. And then they get to the tournament and they shake in their boots and they fold like a beach chair. So I'm looking to fade Georgia Tech. I'm very interested to see who ends up as the 2 and 3 seed and heck, even maybe the 4 seed in their region and see if we can get some prices there. Another team that is likely going to be a host that I'm going to try and fade is going to be Oregon State. They lost their best player, their best pitcher, Dax Whitney, a couple of years ago. His elbow exploded. And so I'm looking to fade them because that was their best player. Their rotation was their strength. And they played an individual schedule. They didn't play in a conference. They played Air Force and Lamar and Cal Poly. So I'll be looking to fade them as well. But Georgia Tech, big red marker is who I'm circling trying to fade this year.
All right. Make sure you guys head to our website at betterday.com as Jake Hassan will have a write-up on the College World Series later on tonight. We'll email that out for all of you Better Day subscribers, whether you are an insider or premium member or just a regular Better Day subscriber and you get our newsletters every single morning. We'll send you out Jake's college baseball preview coming up. And for you Better Day insider and premium members, be on the lookout for some picks once the games get underway for the College World Series, which has become, Jake, as you know, a much bigger betting event in recent years with more eyeballs on it and with NIL money, which means getting better talent and, you know, the depletion of the minor leagues. So kids are actually realizing you go to college as a path to go to Major League Baseball as opposed to before. So it's been a real good stretch run here for college baseball over the past couple of years. As a reminder, you guys can follow us across all your social media platforms as well. Make sure you check Jake out on Twitter at DJ Hassan. You check me out at Scott's On Air. Follow us at better_day. Jake and Colby will have their Off the Board podcast streaming live on the Better Day Twitter page and YouTube page coming up on Wednesday with all the Major League Baseball and college baseball talk as well. For Jake Hassan, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.